The fires of Sundari raged outside, casting long, bloody shadows across the throne room floor. Ahsoka Tano stood her ground, her white lightsabers igniting with a sharp hum. Across from her, Darth Maul paced like a caged predator. But he did not attack. Instead, he laughed a cold, hollow sound filled with genuine dread. Maul spoke of a grand design, a master plan carefully engineered to destroy the Republic from within. He revealed the true name of the Sith Master orchestrating both sides of the galactic conflict: Sheev Palpatine. Ahsoka instantly denied it. The Chancellor was a friend to Anakin, a mentor to the Republic. Yet through the Force, she felt no deceit in Maul's bitter words, only absolute, terrifying truth. Maul offered her an alliance to destroy the Sith Lord together, warning that the Jedi were already walking directly into a trap. But Ahsoka knew she could not trust a former Sith Lord with the fate of the galaxy. Instead of striking Maul down or waiting for Council approval, she made a dangerous decision. She knew the Jedi Council was blind, locked in political games, and burdened by arrogance. If she brought this claim to Windu or Yoda without definitive proof, they would hesitate, deliberate, and fail. Every second counted. The Republic clone army was a ticking time bomb, and Anakin Skywalker was standing right beside the ultimate monster. Ahsoka turned her back on Maul, leaving the Crimson City behind, and boarded her shuttle for the capital. She was no longer fighting a war for the Jedi Order. She was racing to save her master from a nightmare that had already begun. Coruscant glistened in the evening light, completely oblivious to the darkness creeping into its heart. Ahsoka's shuttle slipped beneath the planetary sensor grid, landing deep within the shadow of the lower levels. She could not risk contacting the Jedi Temple. Master Windu would demand a formal inquiry, and Yoda would insist on patience. Patience was a luxury the galaxy no longer possessed. Stealth was her only weapon. Wearing a dark cloak over her armor, Ahsoka navigated the bustling walkways of the Senate District, moving like a ghost through the crowded corridors. Her Force senses were hyper-aware, pulsing with a terrible tension that hung over the Capitol. Every clone trooper she passed felt like a quiet threat, a piece in a violent puzzle she did not yet fully understand. She reached the executive suite high above the clouds. The red-clad Imperial Guard stood silent watch at the entrance. But Ahsoka bypassed them through the maintenance shafts, slipping into the private office unnoticed. The room was bathed in golden twilight, quiet and heavy, with an unbearable dark energy. There, sitting behind his massive desk, was Chancellor Palpatine. He did not look surprised. In fact, he smiled, a gentle, fatherly expression that made Ahsoka's skin crawl. The trap had been set for years, but Ahsoka had walked into it ahead of schedule. As she drew her twin blades, the air grew ice cold. She was standing mere feet from the Dark Lord of the Sith, with no backup, no counsel, and no room for error. The illusion shattered instantly. Palpatine's warm expression withered into a grotesque mask of pure malice. From his long sleeves, twin red lightsabers slid into his hands. With a deafening, terrifying screech, the Sith Lord leaped across the desk, his crimson blades igniting mid-air. Ahsoka snapped her white lightsabers into place just in time to block the opening strike. The force of his attack blew back the heavy curtains and shattered the surrounding transparestial windows. Sidious moved with impossible speed, a blur of shadow and red lightning. Ahsoka relied heavily on her agile Jarkai dual style, twisting, ducking, and deflecting a ferocious barrage of violent strikes. She was outmatched, and she knew it. Sidious mocked her with every blow, taunting her former bond with the Jedi, bragging that Anakin was already within his grip. The dark side flooded the office, suffocating and heavy, pressing down on Ahsoka's lungs like lead. She spun across the polished floor, barely parrying a thrust that scorched her shoulder armor. Her breath came in ragged gasps. Every defensive parry strained her muscles to the absolute limit. She knocked aside a deadly overhead strike, but Sidious unleashed a wave of raw force lightning, sending her crashing hard into the heavy marble pedestal. Dazed and bleeding, Ahsoka forced herself back up, raising her blades once more. She knew she couldn't defeat him alone. She just needed to buy time. As the Sith Lord raised his sabers for the killing strike, the reinforced office doors suddenly exploded inward. Anakin rushed through the shattered doorway, his lightsaber already lit in his hand, but the sight before him stopped him dead in his tracks. Ahsoka was bruised, battered, and pressed against the far wall, her white blades flickering weakly. Standing over her, brandishing twin red lightsabers, was Chancellor Palpatine, his face twisted in sinister fury. "Anakin, help me!" Palpatine cried out instantly, his voice suddenly changing from malicious to desperate. "The Jedi have betrayed us. She has come to assassinate me." Ahsoka spat blood onto the floor, her eyes locked onto her former master. "He is the Sith Lord, Anakin. He is Darth Sidious. He orchestrated the entire war." Anakin's mind raced into absolute chaos, his vision blurred as world-shattering realities collided. This was the man who had guided him since childhood, the political leader who claimed to hold the secret to saving Padme from death. But here he was, wielding the weapon of the Sith, standing over Ahsoka with murderous intent. "Choose, Skywalker," Sidious hissed, dropping his weak act as dark energy crackled across his fingertips. "Join me and save the ones you love, or watch her die." Sidious raised his blade to drive it directly through Ahsoka's chest. In that split second, the universe stood still. Anakin saw his future fracture into two distinct paths. He looked into Ahsoka's terrified, trusting eyes, then back at the monster in red robes. The deception was stripped away completely. With a furious roar of agony and betrayal, Anakin made his choice, vaulting forward to bridge the distance between them. Anakin's blue lightsaber swung in a brilliant, blinding arc. The strike met Sidious's red blade with a violent shower of sparks, knocking the Sith Lord back. Sidious snarled in utter shock, realizing his ultimate pawn had defied him. He unleashed a barrage of force lightning directly at Anakin, but the young Jedi Knight absorbed the lethal blasts on his blade, step by furious step. "You lied to me," Anakin roared, his voice echoing through the ruined office. With a brutal display of raw power, Anakin disarmed the Chancellor, severing the Sith Lord's hands in a quick, decisive sweep. Sidious fell to his knees, his eyes wide with disbelief, as his vast empire vanished in an instant. He opened his mouth to speak one final temptation, but Anakin didn't let him finish. With a single, heavy strike, the Sith Master was no more. Silence fell over the Chancellor's ruined suite, heavy and absolute. The suffocating dark veil that had clouded the galaxy for decades lifted in a single instant. In the Outer Rim, the biochips in millions of clone troopers remained quiet, their lethal command never given. Anakin dropped his lightsaber to the floor, the metal clattering against the marble tiles. His hands shook violently as the magnitude of his actions washed over him. Ahsoka rushed to his side, catching him as he sank to his knees. They had saved the Jedi Order, and they had saved the galaxy. But as they looked down at the dead Chancellor, both realized the terrifying truth. The war was over, but the Republic was about to burn from within. News of Palpatine's true identity spread through the Senate like a wildfire. The galaxy was rocked to its core. The beloved leader, who had guided them through years of devastating war, was exposed as the master architect of their suffering. In the Senate building, unity shattered overnight. Corrupt politicians, long bought off by Palpatine's vast network, pointed fingers of treason at the Jedi, while loyalists demanded an immediate military lockdown. The Jedi Council stepped in to secure order, but their actions only fueled public suspicion. To the citizens of the Republic, the Jedi had executed the head of state in his own office based on private evidence. Trust in the Order hit an all-time low. Protests erupted on thousands of worlds, demanding the immediate dissolution of both the Senate and the Jedi High Council. Meanwhile, the Separatist leadership, left leaderless, without Dooku or Sidious, fractured into rogue warlord factions. The Grand Army of the Republic was left without a clear commander-in-chief, as senators fought ruthlessly over who held the authority to command the clone troopers. Anakin stood before the Jedi Council to give his testimony, but he felt no victory in his heart. Master Windu spoke of duty and political stabilization, while Master Yoda mourned the deep wounds in the Force. Neither could offer answers for the systemic corruption now consuming the capital. The Sith was dead, but the institution he had infected was dying alongside him. Anakin realized that saving the Republic from Sidious had only exposed a deeply broken galaxy that could never truly be fixed. The Jedi Temple felt colder than ever. Sunlight filtered through the grand stained glass windows, but for Anakin, the light held no warmth. The Council had officially cleared him of murder, framing Palpatine's death as an act of necessary defense to save the Republic. But it was a political spin, a calculated move to preserve the Order's standing. They cared more about public relations and military stability than the spiritual truth of what had transpired. Ahsoka met Anakin on the high steps overlooking the sprawling city. She had refused the Council's offer to officially rejoin the Order as a Jedi Knight. She knew where their rigid path led, and she refused to be a soldier in another political game. "I can't stay here, Anakin," she said quietly, her voice steady despite the weight of her choice. They lost their way a long time ago. Anakin looked back at the towering spires of the temple, then down at his own mechanical hand. The dreams of saving Padme, the fear of loss, the anger that had almost consumed him. It was all tied to this place and its endless wars. He took off his Jedi leather tabards, letting them fall onto the stone stairs, followed by his lightsaber. "I'm coming with you," Anakin said simply. Together, master and apprentice walked down the endless steps of the Jedi Temple for the very last time. They left behind the medals, the titles, and the dogmatic teachings that had almost broken them both. They were choosing exile, choosing freedom, and choosing to find their own way through the Force, away from the shadow of the Jedi. Years passed, and the galaxy slowly transformed. The old Republic naturally dissolved, replaced by a decentralized alliance of independent systems. The Grand Jedi Order, as it once existed, faded into history, its rigid codes replaced by smaller, scattered enclaves of Force users who focused on healing and harmony rather than war and galactic politics. On a quiet, green world far from the core, a new kind of community flourished. Clones, whose aging chips had been safely removed, lived alongside former Jedi, citizens, and refugees. There were no high councils, no military ranks, and no political mandates. Anakin Skywalker stood on the porch of a modest home, watching his young twin children, Luke and Leia, play in the open grass. Beside him, Padme worked on diplomatic trade agreements that served real people instead of corrupt corporations. Across the yard, Ahsoka was training a new generation of Force sensitives, teaching them not how to be warriors for a government, but how to listen to the living Force and protect the innocent. There was no grand empire, no Dark Lord ruling from a throne of iron, and no grand Jedi temple towering over a metropolis. The galaxy was far from perfect, and struggles still existed, but it was finally free to find its own balance. The war was truly over. Through betrayal, sacrifice, and the courage to break away from tradition, a genuine peace had been forged, one built not on the strength of an empire or an order, but on the simple power of hope.